The nation's attention today was focused on the University of Missouri as the university system's president and Columbia campus chancellor both resigned.
Protesters had called for those actions amid accusations the two were not addressing racism on the Columbia campus. Students camped on the quad and one man stopped eating until President Tim Wolf stepped down.
Before the day was over, Columbia's campus chancellor, R. Bowen Lofton, also said he would step aside. We continue our team coverage with KRCG 13's Courtney Joden, who tells us more about that and more about from the Concerned Student 1950 group.
Thousands filled Tradition Plaza as original members of the Concerned Student 1950 group addressed the media and community following Tim Wolf's resignation.
Please stop focusing on the fact of the Mizzou hunger strike itself. Look at why did we have to get here in the first place and why the struggle and why we had to fight the way that we did.
Butler says their cries for change shouldn't have taken this long. The original 11 members, including MU grad student Jonathan Butler, who helped start the Mizzou hunger strike, say Wolf's resignation is a glimmer of hope in just the beginning. The group says they demand an immediate meeting with the Board of Curators, System Faculty Council, and Governor Jay Nixon.
To discuss shared governance and create a system of holistic inclusion for all constituents.
Members say their demands must be met to get healing. The group says they will not rest until they have full shared governance within the system. Butler, who held an 8-day hunger strike, has continued eating again. He says this movement was not made by him alone. It was everyone who wanted to stand up for a change.
It was everybody who chose to stand up in this time who made this possible. This was not Jonathan Butler. This was the Mizzou community for one of the first times that I've ever seen stand together united.
Spokesperson for Concerned Student 1950, Candace Head, says Butler did go to the hospital Monday morning. Head says Butler is doing the best he can, but it's going to take some time to get back to full nourishment. As for the tents out here, it's unclear how long they will be out. In Columbia, Courtney Joden, KRCG 13.
A series of racially charged events at the university led to today's resignations of Lofton and Wolf.
KRCG 13's Ashley Zavala has a timeline of those events.
Tim Wolf and R. Bowen Lofton stepped down from their respective positions after a long list of events in a short amount of time. In September, student body president Peyton Head was called racial slurs as he was walking on campus. In the beginning of October, a student allegedly targeted the legions of black collegians with racial slurs as they practiced a homecoming skit. A week later, student group Concerned Student 1950 blocked Wolf's car during the homecoming parade. After meeting with Wolf in the beginning of November, Concerned Student 1950 still was not satisfied with his approach toward one of the issues taking over campus.
We stopped listening to each other. We didn't respond or react.
MU grad student Jonathan Butler reacted to what he felt was Wolf's inaction by starving himself until the university system president resigned. On Saturday, 5 days into that hunger strike, Mizzou football players boycotted team activities until Butler ate and Wolf stepped down. Their head football coach said he supported them.
And I've known this a long time, and I've been a part of nothing like this, and feel that we did the right thing without question.
Concerned Student 1950 says they'd like to add more to that timeline, including meetings with Governor Jay Nixon and Missouri's Board of Curators. In Columbia, Ashley Zavala, KRCG 13.
One day after racial tensions on the MU campus forced the president of the University of Missouri system and the Mizzou chancellor to step down.
Protesters make additional demands on the school, and a communications professor apologizes for her censoring actions during Monday's student gathering. In response to the racial turmoil on campus, the University of Missouri Board of Curators Monday created a new job to help reduce racial tension.
MU law professor Chuck Henson is now the interim vice chancellor for inclusion, diversity, and equity. KRCG 13's Mark Slavitt starts off our teen coverage live on the Mizzou campus.
Professor Henson told us his new position allows him to act as a bridge for building relationships with people of all backgrounds. He wants to improve relationships between students, faculty members, and school administrators. Henson told us he wants to have a complete relationship with everyone in the Mizzou family. He wants more people on campus talking, listening, and taking action when it comes to inclusion, diversity, and equity. Henson says his goals are effective immediately. Henson says his experience as an attorney will help him with his new job.
I've been a lawyer for 25 years now. That work, for me, has been a work of understanding what people's needs are and trying to work to get them what they need.
Henson said he wants to make Mizzou an inclusive and welcoming community for everyone who teaches, works, and studies here. During his interim position, Mizzou leaders want to choose a permanent vice chancellor for inclusion, diversity, and equity within the next 6 to 9 months. Now, we reached out to Resign University System President Tim Wolf and outgoing MU Chancellor R. Bowen Lofton for comments today, but were unsuccessful. Curators hope to find a new university president as soon as possible. And MU Vice Chancellor Hank Foley will serve as the interim MU Chancellor when Lofton steps down on January 1st. Reporting live in Columbia, Mark Slavitt, KRCG 13.
University curators meet behind closed doors for the second time this week.
The latest on the 2 MU faculty members under fire after a video was made public.
A Rolla S&T student is in jail after allegedly posting threats to the Mizzou campus. Good evening. The people who run the University of Missouri system are not saying what prompted another closed Board of Curators meeting tonight.
It's the second meeting this week and the first following the resignation of System President Tim Wolf on Monday. KRCG 13's Garrett Bergquist waited out that meeting. Garrett, what can you tell us?
Megan, curators met behind closed doors for almost 3 hours this evening, then would not reveal what they discussed. We do know the meeting was closed to discuss contracts and personnel matters. All but one of the curators took part by phone rather than gathering in the boardroom. The meeting comes 2 days after UM System President Tim Wolf and MU Chancellor R. Bowen Lofton resigned. Wolf's resignation was immediate. Lofton will remain Chancellor until January 1st. UM System spokesman John Fougere says if there is anything to announce, we can expect it tomorrow morning. Reporting for KRCG 13, I'm Garrett Bergquist.
One MU official has been relieved of her duties for harassing a student journalist.
The news follows release of a viral video her and another staff member engaged in a censorship effort. KRCG 13's Elizabeth Hoffman has that story.
University of Missouri Director of Greek Life Jana Bassler has been put on administrative leave and relieved of her duties. In a statement released from Mizzou Student Life Director Mark Lucas, Bassler was relieved of her duties as the Student Life Department investigates her recent action. Bassler was under fire after an MU student captured her on video harassing a student journalist covering the protests.
Don't push me, ma'am. Don't push me. Sir, what's your name? Can you please leave? You're with the Office of Greek Life?
My name is 1950.
Ma'am, are you with the Office of Greek Life?
No, my name is Concerned Student of 1950.
The video also shows communications faculty member Melissa Click telling journalists who were attempting to cover the protests that they had to leave.
Hi, media. Can I talk to you?
No, you need to get out. You need to get out.
No, I don't.
You need to get out.
I actually don't.
All right. Hey, who wants to help me get this reporter out of here? I need some muscle over here.
Tuesday afternoon, Click released a formal apology. Wednesday morning, Bassler also released an apology for the incident. The video has gained national attention with more than 2 million views. Melissa Click is still employed at the university. In Columbia, Elizabeth Hoffman, KRCG 13.
Police say a Missouri University of Science and Technology student is in jail tonight after posting threats to the MU campus on Yik Yak and other social media sites.
MUPD investigators arrested 19-year-old Hunter Park this morning for making terrorist threats towards the MU campus. KRCG 13's Mark Slavitt reports.
Boone County prosecutors charged Park with making a terrorist threat. Several people reported the threat to police that was posted on the social media website Yik Yak. University police in Rolla found Park in Thomas Jefferson Residence Hall and transported him to University police in Columbia, where he was arrested and put in the Boone County Jail. Park is a computer science major at the Missouri University of Science and Technology in Rolla. University police asked members of the Missouri Highway Patrol to help them keep an eye on the Mizzou campus because of the social media threat. MU freshman Stephen Moore said some students are fearful as they walk around campus.
Security couldn't be strong enough right now. I think that we could maybe even use, a little more protection around security just at this point in time because of the threats issued last night.
MU administrators increased the number of counselors available to students because of recent events. MU counselor David Wallace had little response from students. Wallace said most of Mizzou students were not on campus out of fear from possible threats.
I think students were cautious and afraid. I think, though, we need to be calm.
Members of the MU Police Department sent KRCG 13 a statement and said the safety, security, and well-being of our students, faculty, and staff remain our top priority. In Columbia, Mark Slavitt, KRCG 13.
The nation's attention remains focused on the University of Missouri amid racial tensions. The university system's president and Columbia campus chancellor both resigned Monday.
Today, curators name an interim president while a man who made threats against the university goes to court, and an increased police presence continues on campus.
The sign outside the Black Culture Center on campus gets vandalized. Protesters from across the nation descend upon Tiger Nation. And Donald Trump chimes in on the situation at Mizzou. Good evening. After 4 days without a leader, the University of Missouri system tonight has an interim president.
The Board of Curators appointed former MU Deputy Chancellor Mike Middleton to fill the position vacated when Tim Wolf resigned on Monday. Middleton's appointment comes amid continuing racial unrest on the Mizzou campus. KRCG 13's Garrett Berquist tells us what we can expect from Mike Middleton.
Interim UM System President Michael Middleton has no illusions about the situation he's inherited.
This problem is centuries old, and this problem is going to take years to solve, if it can be solved.
Middleton's appointment follows Tim Wolf's resignation on Monday. Wolf resigned amid mounting pressure from black students who accused him of ignoring race issues. Middleton is no stranger to race issues. He co-founded MU's Legion of Black Collegians in the late 1960s and spent the last 17 years as MU's deputy chancellor.
The members of Concerned Student 1950 are students at the University of Missouri. And so I have met with members of that group before the group existed, talking about these issues.
Middleton says he will implement the initiatives announced by the Board of Curators earlier this week. They include hiring more black faculty, appointing a system-wide diversity officer, and reviewing student and faculty conduct policies. But Middleton says policy changes will only go so far.
I also suspect that my color was a factor in the judgment that I was the person at this time to take this position. One of the problems, one of the things impeding our ability to get beyond this problem is our inability to talk about it. We've got to be truthful. We've got to put the facts on the table. We've got to understand the ugly, ugly history that permeates everything we do in our institutions in this country.
In Columbia, Garrett Bergquist, KRCG 13.
Middleton's appointment is on an interim basis. He deflected questions asking whether he would seek a permanent appointment as president. Court documents obtained by KRCG 13 indicate the man accused of making a terrorist threat to the Mizzou campus had a deep interest in the recent deadly shootings on a community college campus in Oregon.
KRCG 13's Mark Slavitt reports 19-year-old Hunter Park may have been planning a copycat shooting on the Mizzou campus.
Investigators say Park posted the following statement: "Some of you are all right. Don't go to campus tomorrow." That's the exact same post believed to have been written by Chris Harper Mercer, who was arrested for the Oregon shootings. Court documents indicate Park admitted to officers that he made threatening posts to the Mizzou campus and claimed to have no idea why he specifically targeted black students in his post. Court records show police asked Park if his posts were a saber-rattling incident, and Park answered them by saying, "Pretty much." Boone County prosecutors charged Park with making a terrorist threat. Park waived his formal charges and did not enter a plea during his arraignment at the Boone County Courthouse on Thursday. His attorney, Jeffrey Hillbrenner, requested a bond hearing, but the judge denied that request. Park's mother, 2 brothers, and father were in the courtroom. Park's next court appearance is scheduled for November 18th at 1:30 in Division 5 of the Boone County Courthouse. In Columbia, Mark Slavitt, KRCG 13.
Missouri head football coach Gary Pinkel abruptly announced his resignation today, saying he will step down following the current season.
This after the week started with Pinkel supporting his players in a team strike. That's because of the racial tensions on campus. Sports director Rod Smith joins us with information on the timing of this announcement.
Megan and Kermit, this was stunning news for his players, coaches, and Mizzou fans. Certainly there is speculation that his decision to resign was driven by the week's troubling events in Columbia, but Pinkel's written statement released today says the sole reason is his health. The 63-year-old Pinkel was diagnosed with lymphoma back in May. He received multiple treatments at that time and decided he would continue to coach. Pinkel said he felt great going into the season, but reassessed things late in October and decided he would step down after this season. He informed his staff and players today this was part of his statement. "I want to make it clear that I am not doing poorly and that this is a manageable disease, but it's one that will never go away. So many people have bigger struggles with other forms of cancer and other serious diseases, and I feel blessed that I've got something I can fight and still enjoy a good quality of life." Gary Pinkel will leave the program as the winningest head football coach in Missouri history. 117 victories and counting with 3 games left. Pinkel and the Tigers are in Kansas City, where Mizzou will play BYU tomorrow night.
All right, thanks, Rod. I'm calmer on campus, and they feel safer.
KRCG 13's Courtney Joden has a review of the week and the latest developments from campus.
Attention remains focused on the University of Missouri and racial tension on campus.
Please stop focusing on the fact of the Mizzou hunger strike itself. Look at why did we have to get here in the first place and why the struggle and why we had to fight the way that we did.
MU graduate student Jonathan Butler ended the Mizzou hunger strike Monday morning after the University of Missouri Systems President Tim Wolf resigned.
I'm resigning as president of the University of Missouri System.
MU Chancellor R. Bowen Lofton also resigned Monday.
I will transition from the role of Chancellor of the University of Missouri effective the end of this year.
One arrest was made in connection to the threats made on social media towards students on the MU campus. There is still a heavy police presence on the campus. The Highway Patrol has been on the campus at the request of the University of Missouri Police Department for extra security. MUPD is evaluating the situation here on the campus daily, and the Highway Patrol's presence could possibly continue into the weekend. Mizzou students say the tone on campus has been calm for the most part, but there still is tension.
There's like a weird sense of like tension between everyone on campus. It promotes like this weird like unsettling vibe on campus, which is interesting because I've never had any experience like this before at Mizzou.
Now it feels like normal, like Tuesday night and then Wednesday. Like Wednesday I didn't even go to classes. Most of them were canceled. So Tuesday night was really scary, and Wednesday was also still kind of feeling that tension, but at this point I feel safe. I hope other people do too.
Other students told us the campus feels safer, but emotions are still high.
I don't expect to see any immediate change, and I hope people don't expect to see change within the next few days, because it's going to take a lot longer than that.
At the MU campus in Columbia, Courtney Joden, KRCG 13.
Again, the University of Missouri System Board of Curators announced this week Mike Middleton as the new UM interim system president, Hank Foley as the interim chancellor on the Mizzou campus, and Chuck Henson as the new vice chancellor for inclusion, diversity, and equity. Hundreds of students from across the country joined Mizzou demonstrators in a campus-wide march today called We Are Not Afraid.
Marchers tell KRCG 13's Mark Slavitt the racial threats against the MU campus will not make them go away.
We ready? Marchers showed they have no fear of the recent racial threats against them. Rolla College student Hunter Park was arrested this week after he allegedly made terrorist and racist threats against the Mizzou campus on social media. Former hunger strike protester Jonathan Butler led the marchers in several chants during their journey through campus. University police and the Columbia Fire Department escorted the marchers through the Mizzou campus. Students said their nonviolent march was the best way to send their message.
We're not afraid. You will not scare us away from our campus, and we pay tuition here just like you do. This is our home just like it is everybody else's, and we want people to know that racism lives here, and so do we. Like I said, we're not afraid to be on campus regardless of what's said online.
Marchers made a brief stop in the middle of Mizzou's Greek town and gave what they called a war cry. The march ended on the Jesse Hall Auditorium stage with more chanting and dancing. The Concerned Student 1950 activist group started off with 11 people. The group now has thousands of members from across the country. Thanks to the national and international media, their message is spreading across the world. In Columbia, Mark Slavitt, KRCG 13.
KRCG 13 first introduced you to the members of Concerned Student 1950 before the nation knew about this Mizzou activist student group. We were there for their first protest. It was a small sit-in demonstration outside the MU Chancellor's office.
You can't stop the revolution! You can't stop the revolution!
Their numbers grew.
Liberation!
Several demonstrations and marches by Concerned Student 1950 combined with a hunger strike by Mizzou graduate student Jonathan Butler and a walkout by the Mizzou football team led to major changes in leadership, including the appointment of retired MU Deputy Chancellor Michael Middleton as the new university system president.
We must confront many uncomfortable societal issues that once confronted will make us stronger.
After the football team strike, the university president and MU chancellor resigned. MU law professor Chuck Henson filled a new position on the Mizzou campus as the interim vice chancellor for inclusion, diversity, and equity to help improve race relations. University officials hope changes in personnel and policy help create a solution to Mizzou's racial problems.
Color in this country is an issue that is considered, that affects many, many decisions that are made, positively and negatively.
Lorenzo Lawson helps Columbia's black youth at the Youth Empowerment Zone. Lawson says the racial tension in his city could turn into something positive.
I'm thinking that Columbia is going to set the precedent for every other community that's dealing with this, how to go about healing it in a peaceful way.
Missouri NAACP President Mary Ratliff is proud of the Concerned Student 1950 activist group and their efforts to solve Mizzou's racial problems.
This was the Mizzou community, for one of the first times that I've ever seen, stand together united.
Ratliff says people accusing university leaders of pandering to Mizzou student activists are wrong.
It's all these people coming on, saying, all these mean things about these young people who just fighting for their rights, who's trying to make it better for folks who would come on after them. And so I commend them for.
Concerned Student 1950 members have a list of demands for university officials, including more African American faculty on their campus. The group met with university curators 1 week ago. The curators are considering their suggestions in hopes of moving the MU campus forward.
It is clear to me that a first step is to devote our attention to addressing those demands.